What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the CrownHoops Podcast. We are on to episode number 55 now. It's been a minute, but we are back. My name is Jordan Daly. With me this week, we have Ben Okazawa and Stacey Collier. Say what's up, guys.
What's up? What's up? Thank y'all for tuning in. I know it's been a while, but
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. I think the last time we talked was
probably like January or something.
Yeah, I think it was right after the All-Star selections were made, because I was clearing our document going through it, and that was like the last topic we talked about. It has been a while, but we are back, hopefully on a more consistent basis. We have some news on that at the end of this episode. We are going to be bringing on a new member to the team to help us make sure we can get something out. Hopefully once a week is the goal, but more on that later on in the episode. Let's kind of start us off with some news that came this week. Dwyane Wade becoming a part owner of the Utah Jazz. And I believe 2 weeks ago now, A-Rod became part owner of the Timberwolves. So we got some management changes going on with that. What are your thoughts with that? I'm more interested to see your takes on Dwyane Wade becoming a owner of the Utah Jazz, because when I saw that really surprised me. Ben, what's your take on all that?
Yeah, just like you, I was surprised. I mean, why the Jazz, right? I'm assuming it's because it's a lot more available to become a part owner of rather than teams like the Heat and the Lakers. But yeah, again, like I don't know why. I don't really associate the two, D Wade and the Jazz, together. It was funny actually, like Mike's not here, so I'll do his little keyboard warrior. Vernon Maxwell had a lot to say. He was like talking about how someone had asked him to be the Jazz coach, but he said, I want my grandkids to grow up being able to read, so I'm not going to move to Utah.
That is awesome.
Which is messed up. That's the keyboard warrior of the week for Mike there. But yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised for sure, but definitely happy to see D Wade in an ownership position. I love that former players are starting to become more involved in the ownership sector of the league. So it's nice to see.
So do you think he's going to be like content in Utah, or do you think, the second an option opens up in Miami, he's gone?
I think his heart's probably in Miami. But why not keep both? I mean, I'm not sure if he's just gonna, buy a stake in the Jazz and then sell 2 years later. You know what I mean? I think he'll probably want to build something there. And right now, like, the Jazz are looking pretty good. They're looking like a good team to have some stake in. So I figure you may as well ride that out.
Do any of you guys know if you can own multiple teams? Like, can you have like your foot in multiple doors there?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I
think it's probably like morally corrupt. Like,
yeah. Rooting for like different things. Okay, interesting. Stacey, what's your take on all that?
First of all, Vernon Maxwell. Oh man, that's just brutal. That's not even a keyboard warrior. Like nobody in Utah. Like nobody. But I think it is like kind of like confusing at first, because like Dwyane Wade, Jazz, he really has no association with the Jazz like that. But then like I figured that Dwyane Wade could be like a piece in them trying to like capture a championship, for one, and two, to make the Utah Jazz more attractive, because they don't get a lot of people, and then a lot of players have spoken out about the Jazz fan base that could be rowdy, to say the least. Mm-hmm. So like I think it's like to turn around the Jazz image and try to make them a little bit more popular, because the Jazz for most of the season has been the top team in the NBA. However, nobody like wants to talk about the Jazz for real. We see attention going to the Brooklyn Nets. People still talking about the Lakers when healthy. We talking about Philly now. The Clippers get a little bit of press, but not the Jazz. And a lot of people like to write off the Jazz because it's been the same story for the last 4 or 5 years. Have a great team, great defense, get in the playoffs, second round they out. So this should be like a nice turnaround as far as like aesthetics and just bringing in more fanfare, bringing in casual fans, bringing in different players to the Jazz, because they do have an awesome team, but they just don't have that little bit of spark, that little bit of magic to get them over.
I'll tell you right now, if I'm the owner of the Jazz, and I'm sorry for anyone from Utah listening to this, I'm relocating.
Oh.
But like, it just doesn't make sense. First off, they're the Jazz because of a prior relocation. Like, Jazz in Utah? No, that doesn't make sense. Move them to Seattle right now.
Yep.
You want attention. You want to start getting noticed. You want to, start being respected. Step one is get the hell out of Utah.
They're not gonna leave Utah. I mean, Utah being a constant staple in the NBA. They're just not being like championship.
Yeah, since those Stockton Malone days,
Yeah.
MJ ruined their franchise. That's all.
Get them out of Utah, man.
Yeah,
telling you. Fair. It's like the same thing with all these like other small market teams. It's like you're not going to be able to really compete in the free agency. Like why? Why? Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. But then again, like the Knicks can't get anyone either. So, but that's a whole nother story. But alongside D Wade, A-Rod became a part owner of the Timberwolves. And I think the funniest storyline out of all of this is Anthony Edwards not having any idea who A-Rod was. And I don't know if you guys saw that press conference. If you haven't, you need to go check it out. But it was hysterical. And then their little reaction or their interaction on Instagram later on.
Yeah.
They're like, I have no idea who this is. And then they're like talking back and forth. But that was funny. Stacey, we'll start with you this time. What was kind of your take on all that?
Yeah, first of all, Anthony Edwards is only 19. I get it. A-Rod was in the league a long time ago. Matter of fact, MLB don't even like to talk about A-Rod because of the whole scandals, et cetera, et cetera. So I understand. I understand that he don't know who Alex Rodriguez is. But I don't know what Alex Rodriguez is going to bring to the Timberwolves besides
money.
Yeah, and besides, look, A-Rod is at the game. That I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. It sounds like a whole money thing. Because remember, he was trying to get a stake in the New York Mets with Jennifer Lopez. You see how that turned out. But I don't know what this brings. And then it doesn't help that one of your top players don't know
doesn't know who
the owner is. Yeah. And everybody else knows. So I don't know.
That's just crazy to me. Like growing up, I feel like he was such a big name. Maybe that's because I was a Red Sox fan and he was in the Yankees. That's why I knew it. But like, I don't know. Prior to the podcast, we were talking about this, and Ben was saying like he doesn't know if most of the kids his age would know who A-Rod was.
I mean, clearly not. Anthony Edwards and me are the same age, and he has no clue. So
that's insane to me, man.
Yeah. I mean, baseball is a big thing in my household. I'm not really as big of a fan of baseball, but that's part of the reason probably why I know who A-Rod is when a lot of my peers might not. But it's like Stacey said, they try not to mention A-Rod too much in the MLB circles there. But yeah, it's kind of irrelevant. Like he's just bringing money for it. I don't think it's going to be any sort of it's not quite as significant as D-Wade buying the Jazz.
He was just a part owner too, right? He wasn't like the full owner.
Yeah, he had a partner. It's just the two of them though, so it's not quite as like watered down as D-Wade and the Jazz.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So that'll be interesting to see like where they take them, because the Timberwolves are kind of one of those teams on the fence where they probably should be doing better than they are, but
they've been trash forever.
Yeah, that's the nice way of putting it. But we'll move on from that. We'll take a look at the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year race. There's been a lot of smack talk going around, specifically from those bums on the Sixers. So before I get too mad,
hater alert,
very much of a hater. Ben, let us know how you're feeling on these races.
As far as MVP, I think Jokic. It's tough. I think Jokic is probably the clear choice, though. Embiid and him, they are tight statistically, but Jokic has all the advanced stats. Defensively, he's not as much of a liability as he might seem. He's big, he's slow, but his defensive stats are looking okay. Obviously, the assists are through the roof. He's averaging a near triple-double. Player efficiency rating is one of the best we've ever seen in the league history. So, and he's brought the Nuggets back to a pretty good record after kind of struggling early on. So I think they're third in the West right now. So, or maybe fifth, but he's got them looking good. I think, especially with Murray about to be out now, he's going to be the most valuable player to his team by far. So I'm excited to see sort of how the race ends up, because it is tight, but I would have Jokic personally.
Okay. How you feeling, Stacey?
It should be Jokic, clearly, clear as day. But I think the problem is they don't want to give Jokic the MVP because maybe he's not as marketable as Embiid, not as marketable as LeBron, definitely and a couple other players that's been in consideration. So like, I think they'll try to steer away from it. And then, he's a center too, and this league's not predicated on the big man. It's more perimeter now. So, but the man deserves MVP. Like Ben said, they was struggling for a little minute, but Jokic got hot, Murray got hot a little bit, and now they top 4 in the West. So it should be. But Embiid, the one thing that I would say for Embiid, his argument is the 76ers are number 1 in the East, and they have one of the best records in the NBA. But the only thing that's hurting him is I think he missed 19, 20 games this year.
Yeah.
So and Jokic, he been there. I don't recall how many games he missed actually. So I think it should be Jokic.
Yeah, I agree. I also want to say, you brought up a good point. Centers, I don't think a center's won MVP since Shaq. Dwight came close a couple times, but I think Shaq is probably in the early 2000s is the last center to win MVP. So it's a good point. They do try to market more towards the wing type players, but this year it's pretty much guaranteed to be a center.
I'd agree. Yeah, my heavy favorite for MVP is Jokic as well. I think that may change though coming up in the next few months when we see the Denver Nuggets without Jamal Murray. There's going to be a lot more responsibility on Jokic's back, so it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of deals with that, if he's able to, handle that pressure and still perform, because obviously he's going to be a lot more targeted now in defensive schemes because Jamal Murray is not an option anymore. So I'm going to be interested to see how teams can adjust to that and if they're going to be able to contain him. If not, then he definitely deserves MVP. There's no more argument against that. But in terms of Depoy, Defensive Player of the Year, we've seen a lot of players smack talking about this, specifically Ben Simmons, not a rookie Ben Simmons. Looking at sportbook odds, Rudy Gobert is the very clear, significant favorite at -335. So I'm not going to disagree with that here just because I really don't want to give the Sixers any credit whatsoever. So I'm going to roll out after that one. Stacey, what's your take on Depoy?
It's Ben Simmons. Come on now. It's Ben Simmons. Y'all know I'm pro Ben Simmons. I am pro Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is great. I don't care if he can't shoot the ball, as people would say. It's Ben Simmons. When Ben Simmons guard the best whoever, the best point guard, the best shooting guard, the best small forward on the team, when he guards the top scorer on the team, they don't do well. They absolutely just don't do well. I seen a thing about when he was guarding Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving did have 30-plus points, but when he went against Ben Simmons, he didn't do so well. So it's clearly him. He's shutting everybody down. And I think, and also it's fatigue sets in with Rudy Gobert.
True.
And, photo fatigue is a real thing. So
yeah,
I don't think they'll get him the defensive MVP. And plus, this might be a stretch, but I'm not really that impressed. I'm just not really that impressed with Rudy Gobert defensively. Yeah, you should be good defensively. but yeah, to me, it's Ben Simmons.
I will say Ben Simmons is the second favorite at +230, but still, Rudy Gobert is the highly favored winner there. Ben, what's your take on Depoy?
Unfortunately, I don't want to be boring, but I have to agree with Stacey. Simmons can match up 1 through 5. It's ridiculous. He's a 6'9", 6'10" point guard. He can guard anybody on the floor. He was talking about it the other day. And like you said, Jordan, he's been pretty vocal about it. He's been talking a lot, not necessarily slandering Gobert in any way, but just sort of talking himself up. And I don't hate the confidence, but he was saying how in the Nets game, he was supposed to guard KD. KD was out. He switches on to KD's 6'10", 6'11". So KD's out. He switches on to Kyrie, who's 6'2". So it's ridiculous that he can sort of swap through and guard literally the team's best player at any position on any given night. Obviously, if it's a center, Embiid as well is strong defensively, more likely to guard a center, but Simmons can do that too at 6'10". But I think just the versatility gives the edge to Simmons, in my opinion, and he can lock down anyone. And then Stacey mentioned it as well, and I think voter fatigue applies throw it back to the MVP thing. Like Giannis has put up incredible numbers this year, but he's not going to get consideration because he two-peated. He repeated last year. They don't want to, see that happen again. So I think might be a similar case in that we're going to see in Gobert, because he's won twice now. They don't want to see him win again. Kind of bored of seeing that happen. They want to see a guy like Ben Simmons win, a young, exciting player who is pretty vocal about, his confidence in himself on the defensive end, especially on social media. I think that's going to be more marketable, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I could see that. And I definitely agree with your point about Ben Simmons being more versatile. I can't disagree with that. Whereas, I would love to see Rudy Gobert try to cover a point guard. That'd be pretty funny. But
remember that you tried with Steph one time and Steph's like spun him around.
Yeah. Steph is inhuman though. I don't know if you guys watched the
God.
Celtics game last night.
Insane.
Steph Curry hit the most ridiculous shot I have ever seen in my entire life.
And he makes it look so easy too. Yeah. Like it's not difficult for him at all.
This dude's insane, man. But yeah, anyway, I just can't give anything to Ben Simmons. And here's why, right? I'm going to bring up my Celtics fan right here. I'm going to release him. He's coming out, right? Ben Simmons wins DPOY, right? Next thing you know, I'm going to hear all the NBA Twitter people start saying that Ben Simmons is better than Jason Tatum. See, I can't have that as a Celtics fan.
Who's saying it? Like who's
I guarantee you the second Ben Simmons wins DPOY, all the little Philly NBA Twitter heads will be like, where's Tatum's DPOY? Where's Tatum's DPOY? And I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that at all. I don't want to have to be reading that on my timeline. I don't want to be dealing with that. No, because all these same people were the ones in Tatum's rookie year saying Kuzma was better than him. No, get out of here. I don't want to deal with that. So no, Ben Simmons cannot win DPOY. Rant over. Thank you.
Fair enough.
But moving on, we brought it up a little bit earlier when we were talking about Jokic. There's been a lot of injuries coming from this shortened season. We've seen players complain about it, playing in multiple games in just a span of a few short days. And we've been seeing a lot more injuries this season come out of it because of that. The players are not getting proper rest and recovery time. And the most recent victim was Jamal Murray, who I believe tore his ACL just the other night. So I kind of wanted to get your take on this. I mean, obviously there's really nothing the NBA could do, I guess. It should have been more on teams resting their players a little bit more, in my opinion. But it's tough, obviously last year with the break in coronavirus, the season got stretched extremely late. So the NBA's shortened season this year was to try to get them back on track for next season, in my opinion. So I'm kind of curious. Do you think there was any way we could have avoided this? Who do you kind of put the blame on for all these injuries? What's your way of fixing this issue? Stacey, we'll start with you this time.
I mean, it was bound to happen. Like you said, they played so many games, a lot of back-to-backs. Then you got travel here and there, and the whole COVID thing. It was just bound to happen. Unfortunately, it's happening, and it was like no way you can avoid that. And also, with the fact in the play-in game, like nobody wants to be at 7-8 seed. So like everybody's going to like try to play harder if they're a playoff contending team. So like we just want to have injuries, and it's just unfortunate. Anthony Davis still out, LeBron is still out, Jamal Murray, we seen what happened to him. So unfortunately, it just come with it, and we just gotta adjust accordingly. Hopefully, after this season ends, that's when they get back into their regular flow of things, and we'll see what happens. But it was just unavoidable.
Okay, Ben, how you feeling about it all?
I think to a certain degree, in professional sports, injuries are unavoidable, right? No matter how much teams are being cautious and resting their guys, like Jamal Murray could have been injured like that in any game in any season, right? And we have seen an uptick, and that's why I'm saying teams should be cautious and rest their players a lot, especially on back-to-back nights and things of that nature. But and especially with injury-prone guys as well, like guys like KD. But I think in certain situations, injuries just happen, right? Like Jamal Murray went up for what was it, like a layup or a dunk or
I think,
something.
yeah.
Came down a little bit awkward, and it might have been caused by the lower amount of rest that he's getting this season comparatively. But lots of guys tear their ACLs. We see a few of it every season, and it sucks. But I'm not like quick to blame the shortened season, but definitely we've seen a higher volume of injuries. But it could have happened to anyone at any season, really. But definitely go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. And I just want to say, like, from a fan standpoint, it sucks because I don't think, like, even when we go in the playoffs, I don't think we not going to see any of those top teams like at their full potential. Like, prime example is the Brooklyn Nets. Like, their stars been rotating out, and James Harden is still out. We never seen James Harden injured like that, like, or be out for that long. He always plays. So, like, it could like damper the playoffs a bit too.
Yeah, true.
I will say this: with all the injuries coming this year, it's definitely given me a new outlook on load management. I feel like prior to this year, like if anyone did load management, I'd be like, lazy, get on the court. But now it's very much like, okay, it definitely makes sense seeing all these other guys get injured. So definitely kind of brought a new outlook on that for me. But moving on from that, also with injuries, Lamarcus Aldridge had a fun week this past week, getting bought out and then signing with a new team and then going through his physical and finding out he had like an irregular heartbeat or something like that. And because of that, he was pretty much forced into retirement, called it a career. It's sad because I think Lamarcus Aldridge had an insanely amazing career, but I think so many NBA fans are just going to remember him based off of like the last 3 seasons.
Yeah. They're not going to remember Blazers Lamarcus Aldridge, who was gross.
People do not understand how good Lamarcus Aldridge seriously was. So I kind of want to get your take on, where do you rank Lamarcus Aldridge all time? Is he a future Hall of Famer? Where are we ranking him in terms of that? Ben, we'll start with you this time.
He's really borderline. If we're talking Hall of Fame, he's really borderline. He's one of those guys where it's right on the edge. He had a number of All-Stars, but no real like accolades outside of that. No ring, I don't think, right? So yeah, it's sort of tough to, especially when you have guys like Chauncey Billups still not in the Hall of Fame. Like, how are you going to give it to Lamarcus Aldridge? So I think he's kind of borderline. I would be happy to see him go in, but I don't think he necessarily deserves it. And then as far as just what had happened, like, it sucks because he was getting good minutes and playing pretty well for the Nets. As well as he sort of could in that star heavy system as like a role player. So he was playing pretty well. This could have been his chance to get a ring this year. So it kind of sucks that he had to go out that way. And we've seen it before in guys like Chris Bosh. Like, Chris Bosh got blood clots in his lungs or something like that, and that's why he had to retire early. So it kind of sucks to see guys' careers cut short, and I wish it didn't have to happen to Lamarcus Aldridge when he's chasing a ring, but it happens. It is what it is.
Yeah, I will say this. I think his best year statistically was his last year in Portland. He averaged 24 and 10 pretty much.
Yeah.
Plus or minus a few. But, I mean, he's a good player. It's tough giving him that Hall of Fame nod just because there are still so many players that haven't gotten into the Hall of Fame yet. It definitely stinks. I mean, it makes you wonder, like, what if he'd never left Portland?
Yeah.
Imagine him with, like, prime Dame.
Yeah, he was with Dame a little bit early on, but not like big shot Dame.
No.
Not Dame.
Not
time.
Dame Dollar.
Not Dame time. Dame Dollar. Not that time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it would have been crazy to see, because I feel like Portland is one of those teams where, like, if they won an NBA Finals, I don't think there would be like anyone mad about that.
No,
I really don't think
Portland,
anyone would be mad about that, just because everyone wants to see Dame get a ring, and especially if Lamarcus Aldridge was still out there. Yeah, people would be so happy, man. Stacey, what's your take on all of it?
It's unfortunate that he had to retire. I've heard that he's actually been dealing with this for a long time, and he said like it got to a point where, okay, he got to retire, because he said he never felt as bad as he did like previous. Wow. So it's unfortunate. As far as Hall of Fame, I think he's going to get it's like he's getting knocked because during his time in the NBA changed into a perimeter guard heavy type, and the big men, they don't get as much respect as they used to get. I mean, now we got like players like Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic making the name and bringing back the whole big man aura, but I think because of that, like people is gonna like knock him. But if you look at his numbers, they Hall of Fame numbers. I mean, he got better numbers than some people that's in the Hall of Fame or getting considered for the Hall of Fame. And he's multiple All-Stars, been to the playoffs. I do think like his stint with the San Antonio Spurs kind of like watered down the argument, but I mean, I think he should get in eventually. I mean, we can't like knock him for how basketball is now, like with the 3-point and everything. We got to make room, but it's gonna be a little wait for him. But I think he should get in.
Okay, so not a first ballot by any means, but he'll get there eventually. No. All right, yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, especially with how little amounts of players they're putting in each year. So I think this year was only 3, right? There's Kobe, KG, and.
But that's 2020. I think they're doing like 2020 and 2021.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm not too sure about that then. All right. Well, let's move on to looking at the current playoff picture. To my benefit, the standings have changed a lot in the past week and a half, 2 weeks. So let's take a look at that. Celtics are now tied for the 4th seed with the Atlanta Hawks. I'm very happy. We were like 9 at one point. So things have turned around after, what was it? Kendrick Perkins called out Tatum. That was pretty funny. Yeah, Kendrick Perkins has no right to be calling out Jason Tatum, but it's okay.
He curves. He's a Celtic at heart. He curves.
Man, but it's like the thing with Tatum is he's been killing it. And like he's also saying that like COVID is still affecting him. Like he takes an inhaler now and like he feels it like at the end of the game. Like he's out of breath and everything. So it's crazy. I mean, the long-term effects of COVID. So I feel for these players. Like my sister had it in January and she still can't taste anything. So
that's fucked. That's so bad.
Yeah. So it's crazy that it's still affecting them. I think Tatum had it in February and it's still affecting him in terms of his lungs. I think one of my biggest surprises this year, what is going on with Toronto?
I think the tank is in full effect right now. I'm supportive of it at this point. Obviously, I was cheesed at first, but sorry, I don't know. Is that not a word that you guys would understand?
I've heard it.
I've heard you say it, so I know what it means.
I've heard it on Drake album, so I don't know what it is.
I was I wasn't too happy about how we were performing at first. Now I'm kind of bought into the tank. Like shit, we're gonna what?
But I mean, if you look at the standings, they not that far from getting getting that 10 spot.
We're close to that play-in, but then what happens, right? We make the play-in. We got to play the Heat in the play-in.
I don't want to make the play-in.
You know what happens?
You got to go for it. Y'all, you can tell you guys that y'all just got to go for it. Y'all not that far off.
Well, listen, I don't have any control over that, but Nick Nurse does. Nick Nurse does, and the way he's been resting players, it seems like he's pretty bought into the tank as well. We just got fined like $25,000 for resting players for no reason the other day. So yeah, I think everyone's pretty bought into the tank, but disappointing season. Kind of missing a center for sure. Aaron Baines has been disappointing. But
I heard there's drama going on with Toronto fans in the Aaron Baines fan club.
So petty, so petty. It doesn't make any sense, dude. Like it's just some guy who runs a Twitter fan count. It's obviously all jokes. I don't know why people get so mad at this dude. Like he represents Aaron Baines or something. Like, just leave the kid alone. I don't really get what the big deal is. He's clearly making jokes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get why people get so mad about it. But
it's so funny. My favorite thing about the Toronto Raptors this season is, like, every once in a while, a highlight of them will pop up. And, like, I'm like, who the hell is he?
Yeah. Paul Watson Jr. popped off for 30 last night. Yeah,
there's so many guys on your team where, like, if, like, I just imported a bunch of, like, computer-generated rookie classes on 2K, that's what I'd expect their names to be.
That's always how it's been, man. It's crazy. Like when we were first starting to get good, people were like, "Who is OG Anunoby?" Or like,
Yeah.
"Who is Pascal Siakam?" Like, who are all these dark skinned dudes? Like, how is this team so good with all these unknown players? But
yeah. Then you got Stacey's favorite, the Wasabi guy.
Watanabe popped off for 21 the other night.
Good for him. I'm glad
he's recovered.
Back.
He's recovered.
Yeah,
from the
I'm glad he bounced back.
You heard Stacey call him Wasabi. He's like, I ain't about this disrespect.
I did like his quote when he got asked about that. He said, "I'm going for it. I'm going for the block. Like I'm not gonna let him."
There
block
you go.
It. I did like that.
He had a crazy play on defense not too long ago. I saw on someone posted it was like him running like crazy amounts on the court just in front of his man.
That was the other night as well.
Yeah, so I gotta give him respect. He kind of bounced back after getting absolutely demolished by Anthony Edwards.
There was a period of time he just didn't play after that.
I wouldn't want to either. He's a target after that.
Yeah. But other than that in the standings, I mean, Celtics have been looking good. Wizards have weirdly bounced back recently. They're fighting for a play-in spot too.
I'm surprised the Bulls aren't better.
Yeah, Bulls aren't looking better, especially after they added Vooch. But I think the biggest surprise to everyone is the Knicks, for sure.
Julius Randle has been a beast. He does not get most improved player. Like, there's no competition for that, in my opinion.
Not really, no.
If he doesn't get that, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, seeing the Knicks do better this year, does that make them more of like a free agent destination this upcoming year, or is it still going to be the same thing where James Dolan's there, so I'm not going there?
No, I think it'll be a free agent destination. Like, it's New York we're talking about. People want to be in New York City. It's a huge market. And then the fact that they can actually be competitive now and have like a bona fide all-star and Julius Randle, I think other free agents are going to want to, be in that environment, despite James Dolan being there.
See, I'm still standing strong with what I said a while ago. I don't think any big name is going in the New York Knicks until James Dolan is out of there. We've seen way too many fights with players and James Dolan, so I don't think anyone's willingly going to go there. Re-signing is a different option because they're already there; they know what to expect. But in terms of guys that don't really know what they're going into, it's too much of an unknown. I wouldn't risk it if I was anyone.
True.
So let's go to the West real quick. Jazz are absolutely killing it. That surprised me at first, but not really anymore.
Yeah.
Suns have really surprised me this year.
Yeah, their records like 40 and 16. Like I did not see that coming. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, that's like Stacey and I on Stacey's podcast, SOS, Stacey Owns Sports. Go check it out. Preseason, we did like a rankings prediction, and neither of us had Suns above like 5, I don't think.
Yeah.
So they've really surprised. And I think Chris Paul
I was just about to say this is solidifying Chris Paul.
Deserves MVP consideration. He shouldn't win MVP, but he deserves consideration if we're talking valuable player, right? Because he's turned that franchise around.
This is solidifying his argument of being a top point guard of all time. Like he is up there in that race.
Yeah.
Every team he goes on, he makes them better.
Yep.
So
Thunder last year. Like,
it's insane. Everywhere he goes, he makes the team better. And that's the kind of guy every NBA team wants. Yeah. So that's another player I would love to see get a ring as well. Maybe if him and Dame could team up, but I don't really think that's possible. Other teams that are kind of surprised me, the Lakers haven't been as good as I thought they'd be.
That's just injury concerns, though.
LeBron, AD.
They've been out like a few weeks now. AD's probably been out a month plus, so they've been
fantasy team is hurting from that. But will they be back in time for playoffs? Will they be back to full strength? Will they get injured again? That just shows how
AD's supposed to come back.
That just shows like how weak their team is without AD and LeBron, though. So if I'm the Lakers, I am very worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, health-wise, sure, but like AD's coming back soon. Braun should be back before playoffs. It's sort of more like, will they stay healthy after they come back? Is a concern.
Because it doesn't, for me, for the Lakers at full health, I don't think their seeding matters. I think like they can they have the capabilities to beat anybody.
Yeah, they might rather play Jazz in the second round compared to in the conference finals. Like the Jazz, I think, are a 60 win. Obviously, this is a shorter season, so maybe not 60 wins, but like a 60-win team or like a 40-win roster in a 60-win system. You know what I mean? I don't think they're the type of team. And I know we were talking about how the Jazz have this reputation earlier. I don't think they're the type of team that makes it past the second round. So,
but in Seattle, they're the type of team that goes to the NBA Finals.
There you go.
But no, the West has been like so surprising this year. The Mavericks are not doing as good as I thought they would be. The Timberwolves, I didn't expect them to be anything crazy, but 15 wins.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing, man.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I feel Warriors, bad for I feel bad for Steph. If we're talking like Warriors, he's been dragging that team to a play-in spot.
It's so weird seeing the Rockets dead last. I can't.
Yeah. 14 and 42. Like, then they had like a 20-game losing streak or something. Yeah,
a long losing streak.
How
only snapped by the Raptors being somehow worse.
That was when Christian Wood was hurt.
Games in a row in today's NBA. How does that happen?
Yeah.
Those were the 20 games where Christian Wood was hurt. So they didn't have Christian Wood.
So Christian Wood should deserve MVP consideration as well.
Yeah.
Clearly. Gets them 14 whole wins. It blows my mind how loaded the West is, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, we'll move on from that. Go into our hot take. So, Ben, I'll let you take over.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, we haven't talked about it so far, but we touched on tanking a little bit. So we'll talk NBA draft. Jason McIntyre released his whole first-round mock draft. And to everyone's surprise, he had Jalen Suggs going first overall in the draft to the Timberwolves of all teams. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you think he'll actually go first, or where do you think he'll go overall? Stacey, we'll start with you.
First of all, how many draft board projections always end up with the Timberwolves with the number 1 overall pick?
It just it's happened a lot.
Oh my God, they need to get that together. What is he basing that off of? He's based off the tournament. You know, he hit that game winner. Mm-hmm. I don't see Jalen Suggs as the number 1 overall pick. I think at best he can reach that top 5, top 7. Because I've heard a lot about his talent, and I think that we was talking about his numbers before we recorded. I think that his numbers took a hit because he with Gonzaga, that Drew Timme, that a couple other people ahead of him. So he got that going against him. Talent wise, he's not even number 1 talent wise. I think like Cade Cunningham and Mobley, I forgot which Mobley, but one of them, like it's a few people ahead of him, but I think he can go like top 7, top 10, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, most people are ranking him top 5. I might have even like a couple G League guys like Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga who've proven they can do it against like grown men talent. They average like 17 or 18 each in the G League bubble. So I would probably put guys like that over Jalen Suggs, who averaged 14. I think we said 14 and 5 in the NCAA. But Jordan, where do you think Jalen Suggs should be, if not first?
Whoever this Jason McIntyre guy is tripping. Like Cade Cunningham is very clearly number 1 overall.
Oh yeah.
Anyone that says anything other than that, I just don't trust their opinion or value their opinion whatsoever. I also want to take Jalen Green at 2 for the exact reasons that Ben just said. He's proven. Suggs, I definitely see as a top 5 talent. Realistically, I think it comes down to the teams and positional needs, but I'll say he goes around 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely fair. I mean, Cade Cunningham, like you said, he's like if Ben Simmons could shoot. You know what I mean? He's a 6'9" point guard. And he's actually got a decent 3-point stroke. So I don't see anyone else going number 1, regardless of positional needs. Because if they want him to, he can play the 3. If they need a point guard, he could play the 1. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with both you guys. I'll move on to the next hot take, which is Luka Doncic saying that the play-in tournament is a dumb idea and basically cited, if I'm going to work so hard in the regular season to make it to the 7 seed, why do I have to be involved in this play-in tournament? But a lot of people like the play-in tournament because of sort of the competition and the entertainment value. But Jordan, what do you think is the motivation behind Luka saying this? Because most people seem to like the play-in.
I mean, right now, Luka Doncic has no ground to stand on because he's only a game outside of not making the playoffs at all, right?
Yeah.
So they're barely in 7th right now. So I personally like the plan because of how close I think, specifically the West is in terms of the bottom of the seeding.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so close every year, and I think some teams have tougher schedules than others. So that plays into effect as well. So I think a plan is extremely fair. Yeah, if I'm the 7th seed and I'm 10 games ahead of 9, I'm gonna be pissed, right?
Yeah.
But if it's like 1 or 2 games, like do the plan. If you're a 7 seed, you'll beat them because you're a better team then go prove it. It's not that hard, right? So I have no issue with the plan. I actually really like the plan, specifically because of the Western Conference and how tight it is. Now, if we're looking at the Eastern Conference, there's no reason for the plan. Let's be honest.
True.
So that's my take on that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people were slandering Luka over this, sort of thinking that it speaks to his like childish mentality. Like he cries to the refs a lot. He's crying about having to be involved in the play-in. Yeah, for real. But Stacey, what do you think?
Oh, it's a dumb idea. It's stupid. Like just thinking about the playing game, it's not fair to the 7-8 seed. And even though they might be a game or two ahead of teams that missed the playoffs, those teams that missed the playoffs should have won a game or two more. So I think it's very unfair for the 7-8 seed. I think I like it as far as like the excitement. And, we saw it in the bubble, how it was exciting and everything. And they trying to do that this year, trying to make up for, I think they only played 72 games this year out of the normal 82. So they're trying to make up for it, get more revenue, a little bit more ratings coming in. But as far as like the setup, like I think it's like very unfair for the 7-8 seed to fight for what should be have given to them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that. I think as a fan, personally, I can't speak to what it would be like as a player. As a fan, I love it. I love to see it. But we'll move on from that. That took up a lot of time. So Jordan, I'll pass it back to you for the next topic.
All right. So me and my friends were having this debate the other night about where do you rank Zion Williamson right now in terms of everyone in the NBA? Where do you rank him right now? We had this debate and people were saying numbers all over the place. So it was real no consensus of where he fell. So I'm very curious to get your opinions and then I'll say mine. We literally spent like an hour and a half just like going through everyone in the NBA and we did like a full-on list of where we put him. So Stacey, I'll start with you. Where do you put Zion right now in the NBA?
He's playing right now like a top 10 player in the NBA. We talking about like right now. He's not top 10 as far as, NBA players is concerned, but we talking about the play right now. He's playing a top 10. Yeah, right now he's playing like a top 10 player in the NBA. He's actually 8th in scoring. I think he like this whole month or most of this month, he's averaging 30 points per game. And he's shooting like somewhere between 52 and 60%. Like that's crazy. And that's coming from a player who really don't have his jump shot yet. Like he's getting inside. He's scoring at will inside. He's dunking the ball, this and that. So he's playing like a top 10 player in the NBA right now.
Okay. Who are some players you have in front of him and who are a few players you have after?
Obviously, like Steph Curry, he just came off another 10 made threes in the game. Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, like players like that, those players who already been constant. Luka, even though Luka's team, the Mavericks, they haven't been who we thought they should be, he's still putting up his numbers. Jokic and Embiid are the MVP candidates, so they got to go ahead and him. And then you got players like Zach LaVine, who's like popping off, but he's with the Chicago Bulls, and they not in position to, do much damage. So he's like under those players. You can argue with like Zach LaVine, switch him out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you just named like 8 players.
Yeah, that's why off the bat. Like I didn't make a list of anything. I was just
Stacey, I think if you kept going, your number would go higher.
No, I think that's perfect right there for right now. Okay. Maybe I would say maybe Tatum, and then after that we'll put Zion.
Okay, all right, we'll roll with that. But after this episode, you should write a list and then see where like it actually is, and we can throw it up on Twitter. It's actually very interesting. Ben, where do you have Zion right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think Stacey was fairly spot on. I'd probably have him a bit lower. Like, I think top 15, top 20 kind of range right now. More so for the sense that he's not on a winning team. Like, he's not leading a winning team, but he's still averaging 27 and 7 on 62% shooting from the field, which that efficiency is ridiculous. That's unheard of. So I'd have to give him top 15. I would put him over guys like Levine. And I can't even imagine, like, potential wise, imagine Zion with a shot. He would be one of the best scorers of all time, like probably just behind KD and Kobe. So yeah, I mean, I think right now probably top 15 just based on those stats. But I would definitely put him behind guys like obviously Embiid, Jokic, Dame, Luka, LeBron, Steph. But ahead of guys like Levine, sort of on that same plane as guys like Booker, Donovan Mitchell, guys like that.
So I will say this: when I did this, I had him at exactly 15. Tyler Ward, the guy behind our social media at Crown Hoops, had him around 30.
30.
Yeah, it's a big range. I don't know. I think that's low. Yeah, I think that's low.
We had him around 30.
On your 15, Jordan, did you have like LeBron on there?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because like LeBron hasn't played in a while, so like I don't know
but I'm looking at healthy LeBron from earlier this season. So.
Oh, okay. So I mean, I guess if I include LeBron on mine, and remember this is just coming off top of my head. Zion probably like 11, 12.
Okay.
Like no lower than 15. No lower.
Yeah, I had him at 15 when I like counted it out, and I did like a complete list. I don't have the list in front of me, so I can't remember where I had who. But yeah, I had Zion exactly 15. Our social media guy had him at around 30. I don't remember the exact position. I think his cousin had him around 30 as well, which was just insane to me. I was like, tell me, guys, who you think are better. And they were putting out names, and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Man, it drove me nuts.
Tobias Harris, Chris Middleton, Facundo Campazzo.
Oh, no, not.
He's the little Argentinian dude on the Nuggets. He's a funny looking guy, man. But no, like I think it's crazy. That efficiency to me gives them a huge boost over other guys scoring similar amounts.
They not even shooting 62%.
No,
guys that's ahead of them.
Yeah,
I think for next episode we need to have Tyler Ward on and give us his list.
I would be interested to hear, like, for real where
this may need to happen. This may need to happen. And the fun thing with him is if we have him on, he will fight with you that he is right. And then it is hysterical. So that actually may need to happen next episode. We may need to do that. But moving on from that, to kind of end off the episode, I've been seeing a lot of debates on top 5 under 25. So I wanted to get y'all's top 5 and see if we're all kind of on the same page or not. So Ben, I'll start with you this time. What's your top 5 under 25?
All right, well, we mentioned Zion. He's not my number 1, but I'll start from 5. I've got Donovan Mitchell at 5. He's obviously been having a great year. He just got hurt recently, but the inefficiency kind of hurts him. It's like the opposite of Zion. Like, he can score at will, but he doesn't shoot too well from the field when he does it. You know what I mean? And then I've got Booker at 4. I think the fact that Booker's still not 25 and he's been in the league for like 7 years is insane. And he's got so much experience, and right now he's, one of the 2 guys leading the second best team in the Western Conference. So it's pretty impressive. And he's also been like a borderline all-star for a long time in his young career. And then I've got Zion at 3. I mean, like we said, the efficiency is through the roof, 27 points per game. And just the fact, I think that he is not leading a good team like the other 2 guys above him on my list is probably what hurts him. 2 is Tatum. I mean, he's going to be 19 forever, but he's actually 23 right now, 22.
He's 22, yeah.
22.
He's 19 though. Yeah, you're right.
He's 19 at heart. But yeah, I mean, he's having, first of all, a great stretch right now. Like, past 2 weeks, he's been incredible. Like we talked about earlier, COVID kind of hurt him in that, like, a month or 2 ago stretch. He says he's still feeling the effects. which sucks, but he's still, I think he's probably the guy of the ones I've mentioned most likely to win an MVP in his career. Maybe him or Zion, I think. But yeah, he's doing similar things to Zion, but I don't know what that was. Similar things to Zion,
doorbell.
But he's doing, do you want to go answer it?
No.
Okay.
Girl again.
Yeah, that's stalker.
Don't even get me started, y'all.
Yeah, so Tatum, I mean, he's doing similar things to Zion, but he's leading a better team, a playoff contender. And then I think the clear choice for number one is Luka Doncic. He's not even just top 5 under 25. He is an MVP candidate. He's a top 5 player in the league. He's also averaging a near triple-double. He's doing it pretty efficiently. I mean, I think he's like, 28, 10, and 8 or something like that. So for me, Luka Doncic is the clear number one on this list.
Okay. My list is tough because I have a 3-way tie at 5. And I've been trying this entire time.
I had some honorable mentions that were hard to cut from 5 too, but I'll let you go.
So I'll say right now, my tie for 5 right now is Simmons, Booker, and LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo Ball.
Oh, come on.
LaMelo Ball.
We're talking right now. We're not talking
LaMelo Ball.
We're talking right now.
Dude's a baller.
LaMelo.
Got Lonzo at 7, 8.
Oh my God.
LaMelo Ball.
Come on, man. You got guys like Bam Adebayo, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, De'Aaron Fox still in the mix, Brandon Ingram still in the mix, and LaMelo Ball's at 5.
You got LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo Ball at 5, baby. Let's go.
Tied with Devin Booker.
Oh, it's only going to get better. Are you ready for this? Number 4.
LiAngelo, isn't it?
Jaylen Brown.
Oh, come on, man. All right.
Look at the stats.
I mean,
I've heard enough.
Okay.
Look at the stats.
Jaylen Brown
he's under 25?
Yeah, and he's sharing the ball with everyone on the Celtics.
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
but I'd say he's more around like 7. Like, come on, we still got guys like Bam Adebayo, De'Aaron Fox.
You're taking
Brandon
Bam
Ingram.
and De'Aaron Fox over Jaylen Brown right now.
Yeah.
I mean, De'Aaron Fox have been balling out this year.
De'Aaron Fox has been good.
Stacey, help me not be crazy, man.
Brandon Ingram.
No, I mean, like, I don't have a problem with Jaylen Brown. Like, I've really been impressed with him this year.
Me too.
Like
Me too. I think he's more like 7 though. I think he's good. I think he's more like 7 to 10 though.
Jaylen Brown is slept on, man. Do you know the number 1 scoring duo in the NBA right now?
Tatum and Brown.
Let me guess.
Tatum and Brown, baby.
Tatum and Brown. Yeah.
All right. So I have, Brown at 4. Number 3, and I think this is where me and Ben's list kind of sync up. I have Zion, 2 I have Tatum, and 1 I have Luka right now. So I think I lost you guys at my 4 and 5.
Probably. Well, I think Stacey, I don't hate your 4. I disagree, but I don't hate it. I like Jaylen Brown, but Stacey even agreed with you. So I think 5 is where you really
he's done
lost
well
us.
for my fantasy team. Thank you.
LaMelo is where you really lost us.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to come back to this in like 2 years.
All right.
You'll see. You'll see right now. You'll see.
But we're talking right now. We're not talking 2 years from now. That's the thing.
Did you see how he was playing?
He's averaging like 15 points. It's not even like Donovan.
Because he wasn't getting minutes. But when he was in, did you see what he was capable of doing?
He was playing well. He was like triple-double threat. But like, come on.
Dude.
Guys like De'Aaron Fox, guys like Bam Adebayo, Brandon Ingram. I feel like you're joking a little bit. You're laughing a lot.
Ball.
I just need to spice things up a little bit.
Fair enough. A little bit. Just a little.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Spice it up. Get us the views. We'll put it in the title. That's all.
LaMelo Ball top 5 ever.
Yeah.
Top 5. It's kind of a tie 5, and it's like Zion and Donovan Mitchell batting for my 5 spot.
Okay.
Like you said, Ben, the efficiency for Donovan Mitchell does hurt him. He could be streaky. He could be a volume shooter. Like, he'll get you 45 points, but it'll take him like 40 shots.
Yeah.
That bothers me. 4, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is at 4. He affects the game offensively, defensively. He runs the shoulder in Philly. Everybody gets open with him. He shuts down the best player on the perimeter on the team, guards 1 through 5. Number 3, I was going back and forth between 2 and 3. And no, my 2 is, I'm a little biased. My 3 is Devin Booker. I don't know why y'all don't have Devin Booker in y'all in number 3. I don't know why. He's like a complete package. And then 2, Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's at 2. And of course, but we all agree Luka's number 1.
So Stacey, right off the bat, you just named like 3 more people that you have ahead of Zion that you didn't have before. So now Zion's like 16 on your list.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
hold on a second.
Stacey, we're gonna have to have you.
I'm saying he's playing top 10 basketball right now.
But you just named like a total of like 17 people you have in front of him throughout the 2 different segments.
I don't know what happened, but I don't know what happened.
Stacey, for the next episode, you got to write a whole list. I'm gonna have Tyler Ward on, and you guys are gonna go at it.
All right, but he's not gonna be 30. Like I know that for sure. He's not gonna be all the way down there.
All right, fair. And that's gonna do it for this episode of the Crown Hoops podcast. But before we go, we do need to announce our newest member. We had people from the Crown Hoops writing staff send us little application videos. From those, we got to watch it, go through it, and kind of make our pick based off of who we think will mesh well with, everyone else on this podcast and who we think the fans will enjoy listening to. So with that, we are excited to welcome our newest member, Mateo. He will be filling in if one of the original 4 cannot make it. So, for example, if we had announced this prior, he would have been here today filling in for Mike. The goal for this is to just try to make sure we can consistently post more often because we've been really bad with like doing that once a week like we used to. So we are trying to get better at that. Biggest downfall of Mateo is that it's another Lakers fan.
I was going to say, you didn't even realize you're stacking the Lakers fan.
I am heavily outnumbered now.
He's out here.
One day I can't make it. It's 1 Celtics fan, 3 Lakers fans. That's not
so Ben, always make it. Me and you got to hold down the fort on the East Coast. Man. This is ridiculous. We got to convert Mike. Mike's on the East Coast. Mike's in Virginia. We can convert him.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. He loves Kobe too much.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
Stay where you at, Mike. You're doing well.
Stacey, maybe we can convert you once LeBron leaves the Lakers.
Yeah.
Once there's a franchise in St. Louis, then we'll get you over here.
But I'd never want that to happen because I know Tatum and Beal are gone.
Always love the Lakers. I mean, back to Kobe and Shaq and then Kobe's run. So
yeah.
Numbered. I don't like this. All right. That's gonna do it for this episode. My name is Jordan Daly. With me, we had Ben Okazawa and Stacey Collier, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.